just brilliant. And I have, do you mind if I cue up the Apama trailer now?
Oh, of course,
Is
yeah.
that okay?
Yep. Our story opens in Cleveland with a Hungarian ice cream truck driver named Ilya Zharsky. Ilya goes hiking in the woods one day and falls down a cliff. There at the bottom, he had a vision or dream about an animal tournament where the animals gathered to determine who was the mightiest.
And the winner is the one you've never heard of, Apama, who, as his victory prize, chooses to remain undiscovered and unknown to others. Now, Apamas are pretty much the dicks of the animal kingdom.
When Ilya awakens, he realizes he's right outside of a cave. Inside of the cave, Ilya discovers a mummified body and an equally bizarre scroll. The scroll seems to inform him that if he's able to put his body into this exact pose, he will release within himself the savage spirit of the Apama animal. What we next see is Ilya's dogged determination as he tries to enact over months this exact pose, until finally, these first 5 issues explore Ilya learning about what he's unlocked. This incredible strength, this enhanced speed and stealth, the ability to communicate with animals who sometimes don't have a whole lot of interesting things to say, and then others who actually do, especially his pet rat Liza. We've been extremely blessed to have the book illustrated by Benito Gallego. We wouldn't have done this book if we didn't feel like we could really do something new within the genre.
It's funny, I envy him for being a Apama, and I could see him being the friend, dude, how did you become a superhero? Which is one of the things that I find charming about the book because it feels very unique and different and fresh to me.
The book is so good. It's so well drawn, and there's cool shit that happens. There's a new villain that's introduced, and he has extremely awesome powers.
It's kind of unlike anything I've ever read. You definitely haven't read this story.
That's Milo Miller, by the way.
Yeah. And what I love about that is like it is probably a master class on how to do a fundraising trailer for Kickstarter, but also just it's an incredible trailer outside of it as well. That you have, you know exactly who your market is. You have the reviews from the comic book folks, from the podcasts. So is this something that you cultivated from being in the bands, from having gone to Comic-Con? Like, how did you know to create a trailer like that? I can see the music and like your guitar work, but like, I'm curious.
Yeah, so one thing we didn't really discuss is what my professional career was. A lot of this stuff was all done on the side, and when I was doing Nothing Like Vaudeville, the band and the musical, I was an audio engineer at a place called A to Z Audio. So I was actually, it was a mastering engineer mainly. I was, when people needed their tapes duplicated or CDs, and, I would do the EQ, that kind of thing. So I was learning a lot of audio editing. And then I, in about 2001, started working for really probably the biggest audio recording studio between Chicago and New York. It was called Commercial Recording. And that's when I started working on the film on the side. And then I told the owner, I said, hey, we could be doing video now because we invested in all this gear. So really started up their whole video wing at Commercial Recording. And so I was doing a lot of After Effects work for people, editing, shooting. And so that's where I was learning sort of the skills with, and I don't know if that trailer played well for everybody, but there's the pages open and turn. For me, it was, it's pretty much just like a slideshow, what I just saw now. But if you look at the trailer, there's a lot of motion graphics and that kind of thing. So I think it can really benefit you to work in a commercial environment where you've got to get, client work done really quickly and at a professional level. So when it came time to do, my own Kickstarter videos or whatever, I just had a ton of experience doing that kind of thing. So a bit of it was, audio and video really were all that recording we done with the band. Audio is often so, I think, overlooked in the video world.
So true. And then as far as the comic books themselves and being able to go to Comic-Con, WonderCon, all the sort of cosplay stuff. And I assume that's how you sort of had to link up with Lloyd Kaufman, because he also has those booths, and I've seen them there at the places, right? So is that where the link up end up happening?
Well, and this is really one of my favorite stories of this whole journey. When Hero Tomorrow played Fantasia Film Festival in Montreal, we were picked up from the airport, Milo and I, with Lloyd, like, because he was debuting Fantasia. So, you know, again, we're so new to this film world, but we're picked up with one of our heroes, you know, and we got to share the cab ride all the way into town with him, and throughout the fest, he was just as friendly as could be to us, and, you know, giving us words of encouragement and that kind of thing. And, you know, assuming everybody knows Lloyd Kaufman, but he's, you know, creator of Toxic Avenger and Trauma. And yeah, so years later, when we were working on Apama, I wanted to kind of pay tribute to him. And, you know, our guy drives an ice cream truck for a living. So this is very different than like Peter Parker, who's brilliant. And I just thought, wouldn't it be funny if like, and I think the idea came from walking, you know, driving past a mattress warehouse sale, and they, you know, there's a guy out in the front of the place with a gorilla suit on holding up a sign. I'm like, man, what if somebody gets a hold of Apama and he's like, hey, I want to pay you some money. Apama shows up and it's this mattress salesman, and he's like, Apama assumes it's somebody who wants to give him a reward for all his good city deeds, and, you know, it's Lloyd, and he's like, hey, I want you to sign autographs at my blowout sale and I'll pay you $1,000. And, you know, what could go wrong?
I think that's brilliant, and I love that you made him a comic book character. You know,
yeah,
everybody would get it, and it's inside the comic book. It's just brilliant. You know,
he's not really Lloyd Kaufman, the filmmaker. He's Lloyd's mattress man. You know.